haven't been in front of a camera. I've been a little nervous. Okay. For the last 3 months in a row now, we've gotten blood work done. And that's what we're here to do today. We're gonna go over my blood work. Granted, the last 3 tests I've done, one was done 10 weeks post-show, just to kind of see where I was at health-wise, because we were gonna go ahead and start pushing a bulk, because we were gonna do USAs at the end of July. So I would have been starting prep. I would have been in prep as of right now, but things happened. So did that blood panel. Everything came back normal, looked good. And then probably close to like a month, maybe 6 weeks after, that is when our health scare went on. And that's when we had like, you know, the big swelling ankle issue. A lot of other different things going on. Blood pressure was like 160, a lot of trouble breathing. My left arm kept like tingling, kind of going numb. My resting heart rate was anywhere between like 70, maybe 80 beats per minute. So a lot of the signs were signs of like heart failure. It's also just a sign of something if one of your arteries is clogged up and, you know, you're on the verge of potential really bad health-related risks. So I did get checked out, went to the ER, had blood tests done. My blood panel came back good then, and that was the second time. And then, like I said, I went to the ER, they checked for everything. And everything came back fine. There was nothing, there was no clogging in the arteries. There was nothing to do with my heart, the liver, and everything. Everything was looking good. So then we went into a health phase and just been focusing more on bringing back my normal health levels and bringing me just back to normal levels all around. And oh my God, I feel amazing. I feel significantly better. I actually feel like a human now. So like whenever the health scare was going on, I was kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I just felt like large and lethargic, and I never felt like I could get enough air in my lungs. Like literally I would go all the time and it never felt like I could pull enough air in the lungs. And it was just, I was scared to sleep some nights, I'm not gonna lie. So for the reasons of cause as to why it happened, there could have been a couple of different reasons for why it happened. So now just moving forward, it's just knowing possibly like what might have caused it and just avoiding that. And that's just like another part of everything with bodybuilding and choosing to compete competitively, and the fact that I do want to compete at a higher level. There's a lot of associated risks that I'm aware that I'm partaking in, and that there's an associated risk with everything that I'm choosing to do. So it's just, you know, making sure that those things don't happen, and if something, a problem does arise, it's immediately addressed, taken care of, so there's no actual health complications. But we're gonna go through this blood panel, and we are going to be popping it up on the screen as well for you guys. Just like a general overview, quick run through. Everything came back pretty good. It's just my stuff, like the good and bad levels of fats throughout my body are elevated. Everything else came back. If you just wanted a quick Spark Notes version of it, there you go. I'm good. Everything, I'm pretty healthy. I'm back to healthy, so we're doing good. Like I said, I just feel like normal. I feel great again. My energy has been through the roof lately. I literally drink like 150, maybe 200 milligrams of caffeine in the morning. I'm good for the rest of the day until like 11 o'clock at night, and then I crash. We're gonna go through this. I'm gonna touch base on some things as to like what they mean. So if we look at the overall cholesterol, we're within range and we're good. My triglycerides are a little high, and then my cholesterol to HDLC ratio is high as well. Non-HDL cholesterol, high. HDL cholesterol, low. LDL cholesterol, reference is less than 100. We're a little bit above that. So it's just like the good and bad levels of cholesterol that are a bit high. So as we clean things up here, they should start to improve. So what we're gonna do is, me and my coach, he looked over these. His only concerns really were the fats being up. And then, so my cortisol, it's within range, but it's a little bit on the higher end. So he was saying that my stress being up a little bit is going to be causing a lot of those cholesterol levels to be a little bit higher. We were going to be starting our bulk in like a week. Actually, at the time of filming this, I think it would have been started already. But with these numbers elevated, he wants to fully set me up to where health is to a T. Everything is in check, and we're a really good spot to bulk and go into a growth phase. So we're now pushing that off for another 5 weeks, and we're gonna be in like this health phase for the next 5 weeks, mainly just focusing on cleaning up the rest of these and just looking at the fatty acids and the fats throughout my body for a good healthy bulk, which is what we want. We want longevity in the sport. Also longevity in life. So, but I mean, everything else, T4, T3 reverse, everything was in range and good, which just relates to your thyroid. Glucose is within range, your blood sugars. My hemoglobin within range, which is good. Insulin, which is in range, which is also really good. So there's one thing of being like insulin sensitive, where it's like you eat carbs and your body responds like that. You hold on to water and it's just like you're super sensitive to carbs. And then there's an insulin resistance to where if, especially like in deep bulk, you become more insulin resistant to where you could be shoveling in 600 grams of carbs, but your insulin resistance is so high that they're not effectively doing much of anything. And then you would just need to bring those down, or you bring in other stuff to help with the insulin resistance if you are an enhanced athlete. But cortisol within range is just a little bit on the higher end. DHEA sulfate is good. Progesterone is good. Estradiol, still high. Estradiol is your levels of estrogen. So my body loves to take my free testosterone and convert a lot of it into estradiol, which that does become an issue because if my estradiol is super high all the time and my body's constantly converting everything to estrogen and my estrogen is just through the roof, especially for a male, it's like we want estrogen throughout the body. It helps. Estrogen has a lot of different roles of just like regulating body temperature. It has a role in muscle repairment, but too high of levels are not going to be as good because it can lead to things like gynecomastia, where you have lumping behind the nipples, you have nipple sensitivity, you could have random mood swings just from higher levels of estrogen, which are just a few of the things. We're bringing in some stuff soon to bring that down and kind of level it out. But testosterone, 710 nanograms per deciliter, which is literally half of what it was last month. Last month, my test was 1,500 or like 1,550 nanograms per deciliter. This month, we're at 710, so it's cut down a bunch. Free testosterone, 200, which that also has just like a correlation again. If like you're an enhanced athlete and you get blood work done, if your testosterone free is super elevated and it's higher out of range, that has a correlation as to when you got bloods done in last pinned. There's a man walking by and I'm being stared at. I'm watching this like this British YouTuber. Now, every time I talk, I kind of want to like go into a British accent. His name is Matt Armstrong. Like he's fixing like a Rolls Royce. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Everything else is good. Protein, alkaline, urea, nitrogen, my bun, which is good. One correlation with your bun ratio is if it's higher, it typically can be a sign that you are eating too much protein. And it's just putting more strain on your kidneys. But my bun creatinine ratio is good, calcium's good. My creatinine levels are a little bit elevated. One way this was explained to me is it's almost like a skewed data. So the more you weigh, the higher your creatinine levels can look on a blood panel, just because you have more muscle mass, and the more muscle mass is going to be holding on to more creatine. I don't take creatine. I've not taken creatine in months, just because my creatinine levels are higher, but everything else is looking good. Sodium, carbon dioxide, my platelet count. One thing that is elevated as well is my red blood cell count, my hemoglobin, and my hematocrit, which just is signs of my blood thickening. Everything else is looking good. My absolute eosinophils are a little bit elevated, which I know that if that is high and something else is high, it typically might have something to do with your liver. Don't quote me on that. Also, if that is higher, it might be due to like if you're fighting like a cold or a sickness. I don't know if it's eosinophils or if that's the lymphocytes. It's one of the two. And then obviously, and then a very important one, my vitamin D levels. We're at a 40. The range is 30 to 100 nanograms per deciliter. We're within range, which is good. You want good vitamin D levels. It's going to correlate to sleep and a bunch of other different functions too. So that's the updated blood panel. I'm still alive. We're still breathing. We still have a long, healthy life ahead of us. And we're going to make sure of that, especially now that, like again, we're in like this health phase. We're focusing massively on health. So we probably won't be competing again until next year, which is fine. I had to kind of learn from this health scare that it's okay for me to take a step back because I was trying to rush a process that I shouldn't have. That is just not something that I should have done. I should have just been okay with just kind of taking a step back, take time to grow, do all the things that I needed to do, and then compete whenever time was right. I need to develop and instill habits now that set me up for a pro card later. So it's like the things that I should have in my routines in my daily life that I want to, should be instilled and set up in a way that makes sense to go after a pro card. It's like if I'm eating off plan, eating like shit and not doing my cardio and I'm not lifting, I'm not doing all the things that I need to, I'm not keeping health markers in check. It's like, why get a pro? Like, I shouldn't be going for a pro card if everything else isn't making sense, isn't adding up. It doesn't make sense to have the goal and have different daily habits that don't go against that, because then you're not adding towards the goal, you're adding away. That's just the whole rant. But again, we're alive. We're still here. We're still here. The heart rate back down to like 60s when it's resting. My blood pressure, fasted in the morning, we're looking at like a good 122, 125 on average over like 68, 69, 70. My heart, my kidneys, like my EGFR is really good, which is like the filtration rate of your kidneys. That is looking healthy. My liver's looking good. Everything else is looking good. I'm thinking about doing a 30-day challenge. Just like 30 straight days of uploads. Pretty ambitious. I'm gonna go work out. So hope you guys do enjoy the rest of this video. You know what, per usual, pause it, go get you a snack, some popcorn. And you know, I'm out of prep, so I can enjoy it with you. Well, I'm gonna go work out. And you can go grab a snack. And then I'll grab a snack while this video is playing. Like, I'll watch the video and grab a snack.
And all I am is a man. I want the world in my hands. I hate the beach, but I stand in California with my toes in the sand. Use the sleeves of my sweater. It's having an adventure. Head in the clouds, but my gravity's there. Touch my neck, and I touch yours. You're the nose that I'm high-waisted shorts. Oh, as the hours pass, I let you go. To rescue.
We're gonna go for a new PR on this movie. We're gonna try for 6 plates.